Julie, A Magic School for Girls chapter book. Chapter 6, Step Stools. Julie didn't know where Miss Betsy had gotten them, but when the class went to the playground with their broomsticks, there were 28 step stools scattered around the grounds. Julie and Bailey picked stools close to each other. "All right, class," said Miss Betsy, "today we're going to take to the air, although we won't be flying very high, just a couple feet off the ground. We'll use the step stools to help us get going. Go ahead and practice the skills you've been learning." Julie noticed nervously that her broomstick was hovering a little higher in the air that day. She watched as Bailey climbed up the step stool, positioning her broom, and then stepped off the stool. Her broom floated about 2 feet in the air. "Oh, wow! This is amazing," said Bailey. She leaned forward, and Bailey and her broom zipped across the playground. Julie watched as she went to the end of the soccer field, then turned around and came back. "Come on, Julie," said Bailey. "Try it. I can still touch the ground if I need to." Bailey reached a leg down from her broom to show Julie how close the ground still was. All around them, the other students had stepped off their step stools and were flying all around. They laughed and hooted, even though they stayed close to the ground. Bailey came over to help Julie. The step stool had only 3 steps. Julie took the first step. "Just 2 more steps," Bailey said. Julie blushed. She knew it really wasn't that high, but she was scared anyway. She didn't want to feel scared, but she did. Julie was glad that she had a friend who was kind and patient. Julie took the second step. Her hands began to shake. "Just 1 more," said Bailey. "You can do it." Julie stepped on the top step. "Now just get on your broom," said Bailey. Julie got on her broom. There was sweat on her forehead, and her heart pounded. Julie looked down at the ground. She knew it was only a few feet, but when she looked down, the distance seemed to multiply by 100. The broom was tugging forward in her hands. She knew her broomstick wanted to fly. "Step off the stool," said Bailey. "Go fly." Julie looked down again. "No, no, 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 no," Julie said, and she rushed back down the steps. Bailey rushed over and gave Julie a hug. "It's okay, Julie," she said. "I'm sorry it's so scary for you." Julie was embarrassed that everyone else in the class was flying, but she couldn't. Just then, Miss Betsy flew over on her broom. "Is everything okay, girls?" she asked. "Yes," said Julie. I just feel like I need some more practicing on the ground." She began running with her broom. "I think you've practiced on the ground enough," said Miss Betsy. "It's time to try off the ground." "Nope, not quite," said Julie urgently. "I need just a bit more." She laughed nervously. "Maybe I have one of those bashful brooms after all." Julie's broom gave a big tug after she said that, but Julie pretended not to notice. When the class ended that day, Julie still had not flown with her broom off of the ground, so she was super worried when Miss Betsy said that the next day they'd be flying in the sky with no limits. "But of course, since you are beginners, I'll have some magic spells that will protect you if you fall," said Miss Betsy. So there's really nothing to worry about. But Julie was worried. Really, really worried. She was trying to think about how she might be able to get out of school the next day, and maybe the next week. Would it take a month? How long was the broomstick flying course anyway? Just then, Miss Betsy passed around a handout that changed everything.